the Nurburgring Nordschleife, dubbed the Green Hell by Sir Jackie Stewart, feared by many, conquered by few. Who will be king of the ring today? Welcome to Grand Prix Legends, live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Peter Mackay, and I am privileged to be joined in the booth by the better half of Double Scotch, Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, using camera angles perfected by Dougie Beard. Now, the Nürburgring Nordschleife is one of the longest and most complex racing circuits anywhere in the world, and here is our GSRC track guide to tell you a bit more about it.
Welcome to the Nurburgring Nordschleife. Most modern high-end series might use the GP circuit nowadays, but it will certainly never hold the respect and awe that the Northern Loop commands. Though it can be and is usually used in conjunction with the Grand Prix circuit for competitions in real life, here on iRacing, drivers can harken back to a time gone by and just run the 13-mile behemoth this place is known for. Nicknamed the Green Hell by three-time F1 world champion Sir Jackie Stewart, it is often regarded as the greatest test of a driver anywhere on the planet. Just looking at the stats will tell you why. More than 150 turns and close to 1,000 feet in elevation will pass you by in a single lap. Simply memorizing the course is half the battle for most drivers, let alone being fast. It goes without saying that this place is dangerous. Many fast corners lack runoff, there's blind apexes everywhere, and in a couple cases, even modern cars will get airborne. The list of famous turns is pretty lengthy, but some of the more notorious are places such as fluke lots, miss hit miss, bravery corner, and of course, the ever-iconic Carousel. It's not just the places where you've got to move the wheel that get attention too. The Dottinger Hoa stretches for more than 1.5 miles in length. While you would think this circuit would mainly be limited to the track days most gearheads flock to for a chance to lap the ring, it still sees quite a bit of wheel-to-wheel combat. The 24 Hours of the Nürburgring, the VLN Series, and the World Touring Car Championship all still take to the track to this day. Many race fans consider this the mecca of road racing, and any driver who is able to push the limits here often quickly garners their respect.
So there you are then. There is a little bit more insight into this incredible historic facility here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Now, Ryan, welcome to the GSRC commentary box once again. Great to be with you. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit more about this incredible track?
Yeah, the Nürburgring Nordschleife is one of those tracks. It's been around for years for quite some time, put that way. And it's hosted a whole range of series from the VLN to the Nürburgring 24, the TCR series as well around here, and also used to host Formula 1 in the 60s and 70s, and has went through some changes through the years due to safety, and also, like it mentioned in the broadcast at the start, it's nicknamed the Green Hell, and today it will be hosted at the Lotus 49 series, and around this 12.94 mile track with this Lotus 49 is going to be a challenge, and survival is going to be key today.
Certainly is. Yeah, that track knowledge is going to be vitally important for this circuit. We're coming towards the end of the Grand Prix Legends series. We're on the 10th round of the 12 race season. Today we will have a race of, you might think, only 6 laps. Well, it's a long way around here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and critically, the drivers have the freedom to set their cars up how they wish and to handle the variety of terrain here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. That is going to be one of the most critical points, and looks like we're going to have some of the biggest names in sim racing taking part in our race today. But why don't we have a look at the championship points? And Ryan, why don't you tell us how the runners and riders are looking right now?
Yep, absolutely. So in the F1 Championship, the winner's being sealed in that anyway. Rafael Dorado took the championship last week. So as it stands, it's basically a battle for best of the rest, with second place Rob Olenek with 105 points further back, with Mick Claridge in third place. And Yuri Geisen, the surprise person this season, improved massively, is in fourth place, with Norway's Ove Trengrid in the top 5. And how's the F2 Championship looking, Peter?
So in the F2 Championship, it's Togo Hisada of Japan leading by 52 points from John Olsen, with Andrew Schumacher, his home race, in third. Yanni Lehman and Dave Cohen are tied in fourth place, with Jean Van Dorn in fifth. And in the Nations Cup, that great motor racing nation of Brazil leading the United Kingdom by 27 points. The United States are in third, with Finland fourth, and the Netherlands up into fifth position. So the drivers are out on track right now, getting in their, well, they will actually now, this is a question, Ryan. This will just be a warm-up session. They won't actually be going out to do a qualifying lap because it's such a long lap to get around here.
Yeah, it's always been the case with any series at this track. Qualifying and race, the race has been separate. And yeah, as we're just about to head to the grid now.
Let's have a look then how they're going to start for this race here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. As you can see, the cars are just starting to gather up on the grid for a standing start for 6 laps. Here we go. So Ovi Trengeride will start on pole position alongside Mick Claridge. Row 2 will see Michel Dudon alongside Rafael Dorado. Row 3 will be Rob Olenek and Severi Seppa. Row 4, Togo Husada and Alessandro Parigi. And row 5 will be Bill Tyler and Temo Toika. Ryan.
Starting 11th is Sebastian Tixier with Chris Marikami in 12th alongside him. Yuri Geiser in 13th, with Will McDonald in 14th. 15th is Jan Leenan with Jan Hoffman in 16th. Laus Olsen in 17th, with Jim McGill in 18th. 19th is John Olsen, and Antonio Rees rounds out the top 20.
On the 11th row of the grid, we'll see Eric Leukel and Terry Worth. Row 12 will be Jamie Fluke and Colin Bentley. And finally, Julio Forkelin, Robert Plumley and Osmar Schultz. The lights are up and we are about ready to go. We are off here at the Nürburgring as they head down straight onto the Nordschleife section, and Trengeride has got the little bit of the jump there. It looks like, is he going to hang on to it side by side? But looks like Mick Claridge sweeps into the lead.
Yeah, just behind them as well, we've got Michel Dunion and Rafael Dorado battling away, and it looks like Dudion's managed to gain the position from Dorado, with Rob Olenek far behind, just behind as well. And as they come through the first few corners, the pack's still relatively close at the moment, and it's so far so good.
Absolutely. Yep. Patience is the key at the Nordschleife. Patience and track knowledge as they come over towards the Flugplatz, over the humps here. And it's, look at that blind entry. And you get over in the cars, you can see the suspension working so hard. You cannot imagine what it would have been like to drive one of these cars in period back in 1967 when the Lotus 49 surfaced. Incredible facility. And of course, this is where really a circuit where you want pretty good aero grip to kind of get you out of trouble a little bit, Ryan. But actually, these cars don't have any, so you are very much on your own.
Yeah, this car's pretty much down to the driver, and just the driver being patient and just trying to tame this car. As at the moment, it's still Mick Claridge is leading and pulling away ever so slightly from Ovi Trengeride. But yeah, we're only basically kind of not even halfway around the first lap. As Mick Claridge gets ever so slightly sideways. And that's the thing with this car around here. If you get it ever so wrong, you've got nowhere to go or nowhere to hide.
You got nowhere to run. That's for sure. 6 laps of this circuit we're going to go around, and these Lotus 49s do dispatch with it pretty quickly, using all of that 400 horsepower from the Cosworth DFV engine. Now, keep an eye on Jamie Fluke, who started from the back, didn't have a qualifying time set, so he will start. He started very near the back, and he's now up to P18 for the
he's just
racing team. And oh dear, that's unpolite. Oh my word, ran into the back. I'm not sure who that was who was into the back of there. I think it was Jim McGill, actually. Yes, in that red and yellow machine. So let's get a replay of that. Ryan, what do you see?
Yeah, so we're just about to look at the replay now, and it looks like maybe just Jamie got caught out, and Jim just slowed up ever so slightly and caught him out. But Jamie's a top driver, and he should have been more heads up about it.
Yeah, absolutely. When coming through the pack, you've got to be really careful. And there's a lot of parts of this Nürburgring Nordschleife circuit which are one line. There is no way through. So you sometimes have to really exercise that patience. And As we head down the hill, there's really tricky braking zone here for this actually deceptively quick right-hander. Going to try and swoop round, use the camber there, and on the power, the exit of this corner, absolutely critical because it's an endless drag up the hill all the way towards the section with the carousel.
Absolutely. As Ovi Traingrade actually caught back up to McLaren, and McLaren just seems to be struggling ever so slightly. Maybe just I know he's not. Some of these guys have not raced around here that much, so. But Ovi Traingrade is one of those drivers. He's not afraid to push the envelope, if you like.
Definitely not. No, and that is certainly a useful characteristic to have here. As we head into this really, really tricky right hand. I won't offend anyone with trying to pronounce some of the names of the corners here. They are, of course, all in German. As we head towards the carousel, I can manage this one. This is one of the most famous sections in the world. And you just hook the wheel in, and it's like being in a Scalextrics track here, and then back on the power, and then up the hill into this very, very tricky section as well. You'll see all the well, some people would call it graffiti, but it's very much part of the fabric of the circuit here, where all the fans write and paint their names and all kinds of stuff on the tarmac there. But tell you what, Trengeride, he's starting to make an impression on Claridge after losing that spot at the start.
Absolutely, and not only Trengrade as well, but look in the background, the returning driver, Michel Dunion as well, has caught up to these two guys, so it's a freeway battle as it stands, as we're still, amazingly, still only on the first lap.
Absolutely, it is a long, long race here, one where you cannot afford even the slightest drop in concentration. It's a good thing that you're constantly kept on the ball here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Really, though, we've got to keep an eye out for the Dottinger Hole straight away, don't we, Ryan? Because that's where there's going to be a good opportunity for some drafting, and that's where tactically that can play a bit of a part as they get off the. I think that was all four wheels off the ground there from the guys at the front, and wow, making that suspension work hard.
Yeah, absolutely. The Dottinger Hole, like you mentioned, it's one of those. It's that section of track. Oh, it's Trengrade's on the wall.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Trengrade into the wall hard, and I think that will be done. He's taken a toll back to pit lane. So on board with Ove Trengerade, just gets a little bit of a bump. The car gets unset. Gets on the curb. Yeah, just touches the curb at the Stefan Beloff S's, and if you even so much as brush these walls, you are done.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before I was talking about the Dottinger Hole as well. It's one of those sections of track. If you can get close to someone and get a good exit on that long right-hander heading onto it, you can get a slipstream and you can use that to your advantage to slingshot your way by.
Yeah, and you can see here Mick Claridge actually just adjusting his line, just trying to give as little a draft effect to the car behind as possible. Now, if you look closely at Mick Claridge's nose, he's got a bit of damage on there, but let's go back to Jamie Fluke, who's very much on the move. He's battling with Will McDonald for 11th place right now, and he's going to take it, I think, as they head into this very, very fast left-hand kink where Kevin Estra went up on the grass to overtake for the lead in the Nürburgring 24-hour last year. But Fluke is through, 20 seconds off the leader at this stage, but he's made a brilliant start on the opening lap from the back of the pack. He's now up to 11th, and he's definitely in the reckoning for this win, Ryan.
I think so. If you can get through the pack as quickly as possible without taking any risks, I think I don't know about the win, but a podium position is more than it could be on the card for sure.
We shall wait and see. Of course, Jamie, the winner at Imola a couple of weeks ago, so we'll see how far he can get through the pack. It's going to get harder as he keeps going, but Mick Claridge now enjoys a 1.7 second advantage from Dunion, with Dorado not far behind. There he is. There's Rafael Dorado, our newly crowned champion. Unfortunately not able to run the number 1 plate. That would have been cool. As we see now, Dorado, has he had a little bit of a... Now we're looking at Dunion, and yes, that's Dorado right behind, and just starting to reel in as they come over the hump, the crest there. And look at the suspension travel here, Ryan. It just shows you how hard these cars get worked in this really, really bumpy attritionist layout.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those sections of track as well that any time I lap around here, whenever I come up to it, it's one of those corners that you just hold your breath and hope for the best because you're going so quick, and if you get it wrong, you're basically just on a one-way trip to the wall. But yeah, just watching the suspension travel over the curve as well. It's on these cars anyway, they take such a pounding.
Really do. You can see why there were so many mechanical failures back at that time, back in the 60s, and well, racing, the risk of mechanical failure around this particular circuit is a scary prospect, and eventually the track taken away from the Formula One calendar, and Sir Jackie Stewart and Jochen Rindt, well, we owe a lot to those guys. For made themselves very unpopular at the time, campaigning for better safety, but that's the joy of sim racing, isn't it, Ryan, that we can enjoy these cars on this circuit in an incredibly realistic simulation, and a great way to preserve this both car and circuit.
Absolutely. And yes, sim racing, you don't have that fear factor, if you like. If you crash, you don't get hurt, but those guys in real life, I take my hat off to them, because there wasn't really, with these cars anyway, there wasn't really much in the way of safety, not like we have today anyway. And we have to take our hats off and pay our respects to those guys for making motorsport a lot more safer. The danger's still there, but it's not as bad as it was in those days.
No, definitely not. And it certainly was a happy hunting ground for the Scots here, though, Ryan. Of course, Sir Jackie Stewart won here twice. And Jim Clark once. And one time Jackie Stewart won by over 4 minutes in the rain at the Nürburgring, and I think that paid to anybody who were calling it. And the thing is, that was at the time people were calling him a wimp, which I don't know how you could call a 1960s Grand Prix driver a wimp, but that was what he had to put up with at the time in his campaign for safety.
Yep, absolutely. The battle for P6 is going on at the moment between Alessandro Parigi and Bill Tyler, and these guys have been pretty much close together since the start of the race, and Bill Tyler looks to be the quicker driver at the moment, but around this part of the Nordschleife, making a move is pretty difficult.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you've kind of got to just wait your turn almost, don't you? It's as we come up towards the Carousel, and Bill Tyler, all he's got to do here really is try and just put himself in position right on the back of Parigi's gearbox, and then make the draft move along the Dottinger Hole. That is kind of you've got to really think almost miles ahead, quite literally, because there isn't really that many great overtaking opportunities, because it's so fast and so much one line, that really that is your main opportunity to make the pass cleanly and safely.
Absolutely. And round this part of the track, like, where you can't really make a move, and it's pretty much just staying in line. I like to plan what I'm going to do, when to make a move, and if I can stay close to the car in front of me, I normally try and make a move heading on the exit or onto the Dottinger Hole, and just try and get a run there, because around this part of the track, it's pretty much, you can't really do anything.
Well, of course, the other tactic as well is to pressure the car in front, is to, be in their mirrors, loom large in their mirrors, and try and push them into a place where they're a little bit more uncomfortable and push them into a mistake. That's also the other tactic as well. But Bill Tyler and Parigi very evenly matched at this point, that gap looking very, very stable. Jamie Fluke now up to 8th, but although he's gaining places on track, he's actually dropped during this lap, dropped about 2 seconds to our leader Mick Claridge. So that certainly, he's climbing the places up the field, but the leader, Mick Claridge, he's not actually making any inroads to him.
Yeah, absolutely not. And pretty much at the moment, it seems to be already the field spread out. So everyone's been it's actually been a reasonably clean start, or clean couple of laps, considering some of the issues that were going on in the first lap. But everyone's, this series, as we know, there's a lot of respect between the drivers, and the driving standards are always been pretty good.
Yeah, they are incredibly good. The community around Grand Prix Legends and the Lotus 49 is fantastic. Brilliant respect between the racers who take part in this series every week. Broadcast every Saturday at 1:30 GMT on the Global Sim Racing channel as they go onto the Dottinger Hole underneath the Audi Sport Bridge. Now, can Bill Tyler make an impression on Parigi? You see Bill Tyler's car bobbing up and down on the bumps there. Oh, he's got that quite softly sprung, that Lotus 49, but Parigi able to hang on for now. So, yeah, there's just not quite close enough to make an impression. But I tell you who is making an impression, Ryan. Look at this. Durignon puts in the fastest lap of the race, a 6:28. Wow, that is really fast. Anything in the sixes is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Michel Durignon returning to the series, and it looks like he's lost none of his speed. But also there in the background, there's someone else that's joining this battle as well, as Rafael Dorado, the new champion.
Is that a new paint scheme for Dorado? I think it might be. That looks like a Gold Leaf Lotus homage that he's got on there. Of course, Gold Leaf, the first kind of commercial sponsor of motorsports. That was in the Lotus team. In fact, that was what went on this very car, the Lotus 49, the first car to have proper commercial sponsorship. So, the car looks like a bit of a cigarette on wheels, and well, there you go. It's got a cigarette branding as well.
Yeah, and the livery seems to be doing the job as Durignon's getting closer and closer to McLaren. He's going to he's in the wall. Oh
no. Oh, that's a huge one for Durignon. It's going to Dorado! No! Oh, poor old Rafael Dorado had nowhere to go. Oh, goodness me. So let's have a look. Durignon goes for the inside and just loses it on the bump there. And I think he was actually going to try a move there, Ryan. We need to maybe get a closer look. But poor old Dorado, he had nowhere to go. Oh, yeah, what a pity.
He just had no time to react. And I think around this track, especially when you're going at such high speeds, you've really not got time to react and try and decide where you're going to go. And that was unfortunate. And it looks like Durignon just went over that crest or that bump and just got a little bit of airborne and just had no control.
That's right, yeah. The nose got up in the air and just basically the air got underneath the nose and kind of started to flip the car, and that sent him into the wall when he lost the steering. Well, drama here at the Nurburgring Nordschleife. That's such a pity because there was a real battling starting to emerge there, and I think Mick Claridge will be breathing a large sigh of relief, because I do think that Bourguignon was going to go and put a bit of a move up the inside there, which would have been it wouldn't have been a very high percentage move, put it that way. But Claridge now, he's enjoying a 16-second advantage. So now, Ryan, he has the ability, he has the luxury to really back the pace off and just calm the pace down and cruise to the win here.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's another thing as well. You don't want to back off too much, because it can kind of mess up your focus and your concentration if you lose that, especially around here, that you end up making some silly mistakes.
An excellent point. Yep, that is always the balance, isn't it? Some drivers prefer just to keep their head down and just go on as normal. But I'm sure Mick Claridge, he'll be wanting to just leave a little bit of margin there as well. But it doesn't look like he's going very easy there, Ryan.
Yeah, just like I say, he's probably wanting to just keep up, but he probably doesn't want to push too hard. But Watson Mick at the moment, it looks like he's doing that. Maybe just wants to try and keep his concentration up and doesn't want to. There's a battle for P3 is going on at the moment between. And it looks like Jamie Fluke's involved in the battle for P3 as well.
Yeah, three-way battle here. Parigi, Tyler, Fluke. Is just inheriting positions as other cars have dropped off in front. That gap, if you're watching that gap between Fluke and Claridge, it's exactly the same as it was a lap ago. So Jamie Fluke gaining positions on track, but not actually time to the leader. 4 laps to go when we go over the stripe. But who's going to take the positions on the podium? We've got Seppa about 3 seconds up the road from Parigi as they come through the carousel, hooking in there. And tell you what, it's such a tricky corner there as well. And we've got a GSRC logo. Look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And it looks like he's giving Bill Tyler a bit of Bill Tyler a good run today as well. Judging by the amount of positions he's gained, and Jamie Fluke pretty much the most positions gained in the race.
Yeah, so Bill Tyler's got the Go Faster GSRC sticker on on his Lotus 49. Now look at Jamie Fluke here in the blue and pink car, in the number 2 car. trying to really put the pressure hard on Tyler. Now, can he make a move? He looks like he's wanting to get it done as soon as he possibly can. Doesn't look like he wants to wait around, does Jamie Fluke? So where can he make the move though, Ryan? That's the thing, is that there's just so few opportunities, and Bill Tyler, he's hustling that car as well. So there isn't really any obvious positions where Jamie Fluke can make this move.
I'd probably say his best chances on the dot in a hole, basically that long straight, just because this is a section you can't really make a move, and as much as Jamie wants to try and get by as quickly as possible, if you try and go for a move in the wrong place, especially say like around this section, it'll end up in disaster. So that long back straight is probably his best shot.
Yep, I agree. That's certainly the best shot. He's certainly trying to fill the mirrors of Bill Tyler's Lotus 49 as they come into the final sector now before that critical part. The Dottinger hole, you've got a real cambered left-hander here. You just tuck the wheel in and whoosh, round you go. Try not to hit the curb on the inside, and then use all the power you possibly can. Get it wound up there. Parigi's got a pretty comfortable gap here now. Can Fluke get the exit here onto the Dottinger hole? Looks like he's going to. He's well into the draft. Now, will he be able to get by? Bill Tyler holds his line. No weaving around. That's very good respect indeed there. Here goes Fluke then. It looks like he's going to get this move done.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill Tyler, like you say, he didn't do anything silly like leave or weave or try and block. He just took his line, and basically, Jamie Fluke got the run, and it looks like he's up the inside at the moment, but it looks like the move's not done yet.
Oh,
he just about gets it done, and that was scary to watch over that bump.
Firmly shuts the door there and actually puts a wheel onto the grass, shutting that move down. And wow, look at the run he's got on Parigi as well. So now Jamie Fluke right up behind Parigi, but we come onto the Nordschleife once again, onto the main section here. So this is where again Jamie Fluke's really going to have to do well to get that move done. There are opportunities. We've got one long straight in the middle of the lap, but it's a good couple of miles down the road from here. But can Jamie Fluke manufacture anything elsewhere? Now, this is the battle for the podium, don't forget. Parigi sitting in third right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is for the final step on the podium, and Jamie Fluke, he's quicker out of him and Parigi, but again, it's always the case around the Nordschleife, especially this section we're coming up to now. You just can't really make a move, or if you try and make a move, you've got to do it safely. As it looks like Jamie Fluke's got the run as they come up to this jump right now, and Jamie Fluke gets the move done.
Oh, over the Fluke Platz they go then. Oh, brilliant move to get that done safely, cleanly, and off into third position is Jamie Fluke in the number 2 machine. Wow. So now we're going to see a little bit of clean air. 23 seconds, the gap between himself and Mick Claridge. 3 laps to go after this one. So there's still a good, what will that be? About just over 20 minutes of racing to go. So it's going to be a big ask. But Jamie Fluke at least onto the podium now, and from the back of the grid, this has been an impressive drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie Fluke is one of the quickest drivers on iRacing, and at the moment he's putting on a masterclass getting through the field up into the podium position. And I don't think he'll be able to catch Claridge, but can he catch Severi Seppa? I wouldn't rule it out.
Definitely not. Yep, I agree. I think Claridge it's going to take a mistake from Mick Claridge at this stage to rob him of the win. Of course, didn't have quite the best return to the series last week at the Motegi Oval, but that's quite a different challenge, you could say, to this. It's a lot easier to learn the Motegi Oval than Nürburgring Nordschleife.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was just checking the strength of field for this race as well, just to see what it was like, and 3,145, and Jamie Fluke, his iRating is 5,351. So yeah, he likes to grind his iRating, that's for sure. Yep,
absolutely. It's that's iRating one could only dream of, I suppose, Ryan. That is, I'd love to have half that. That would be nice. So, yeah. I am here behind the mic. So, we've got a battle. Wow, we've got a brawl emerging for P6 right now between Geisen Local and Kamikaze Murakami here, who's at the back here in the 8th place. So Yuri Geisen in the pink and white machine, Eric Leukel in that kind of British racing green and white car. Very nice livery indeed. And Murakami in the white and red machine behind. And brilliant little tussle emerging here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these guys are pretty much evenly matched on pace, and Geisen is, like I say, he's done well to be up there in the basically top half of the F1 Championship, and pretty much the driver of the season for me. He's improved massively. Even I know Dorado's improved massively as well, but Geisen's pretty much from being probably around the mid pack, he's been doing well to get up to kind of like in the front half of the pack this season as we come to a close.
Oh, huge!
What's on the wall?
Oh, that's Leukel. The 23 car Leukel. That is massive. Oh, we'll try and get a replay of that one for you folks. Let's have a look then. So Leukel coming down the hill towards this quite tricky right-hander here. This is hugely fast, right at the very top of top gear. And oh, that's quite a strange one there, Ryan. He seemed to just go straight on.
Yeah, it just looked like he might have just lost the rear. I don't know if he just lost control, but that was a bit of a weird one. But anyway, it gave Geisen a bit of breathing space.
Certainly has, yeah. So now Geisen is about just around 4 seconds ahead of Murakami, and he'll want to try and desperately protect that gap to maintain 6th position. It's a long way up from Geisen up to Tyler. Let's go to P9 then. We've got Jim McGill in 9th place holding off Antonio Rice, or he was holding off Antonio Rice, but Rice goes blasting by in the number 12 car going through to the carousel.
Yeah, it was like McGill might have just either made a mistake or just decided to let Antonio go and just maybe play the long game. I mean, they've still got just about 3 laps remaining in the race, so maybe McGill just wants to finish his race and just try and secure that top 10 position. Or top 11 position, sorry.
Just looking at the fastest laps of the race, and Mick Claridge and Jamie Fluke separated by, now bearing in mind this is a 6.5 minute lap, they are separated by 40 thousandths of a second on their best lap.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about, especially around this track, and it just shows that both these guys are pushing as much as possible. Jamie Fluke pushing to try and maybe catch Severi Seppa, but Claridge just pushing to basically, I guess, just try and keep his focus, and he doesn't want to back off too much.
No, definitely not. I tell you what, 40 thousandths of a second, how far is that? I mean, you could sneeze further than that. Goodness me, that's and this across this circuit, that just shows you how tight that gap is. And actually that also proves why Mick Claridge has been able to protect this lead. You've been watching the time closely, and that gap of circa 20 seconds or so has not moved. Mick Claridge, this has been a champion's drive because he's kind of had to do this all on his own. This is going to be a long 2 laps to go now for Mick Claridge, so just about 13 minutes or so to go for him. And this is going to be a long couple of laps.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look at Jamie Fluke now, and it looks like he's actually not close. He's catching Seppa, but he's not catching him as quick as I thought he would as he comes across the line now. And I just watched Seppa out of shot there, and Jamie Fluke has got a gap down to about 2.8 seconds. Yep,
so Jamie Fluke on the move then, desperately trying to climb as many positions as he possibly can, and wow, using all of the road there, coming down the hill in this opening section of the Nordschleife. Will be losing. Oh my word, that was close. We'll try and get a replay for that off you if we can, but oh my word, that must have been a huge moment. Let's watch for the opposite lock. Gets onto the curb there, using all the road. We're coming down to this really tricky left-right onto the curb, loses it on the way in. Oh, that would have been a big one. Ryan, on board?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was watching that as well, and even though I didn't say anything, I was basically, I had a bit of a Kimi Raikkonen reaction. I was like, whoa.
As animated as you'll ever get Kimi Raikkonen to be. Wow. Oh, getting it all crossed up over the jump there was Jamie Fluke. I think he's trying, Ryan. I think he wants this second place from Severi Seppa, but 2 laps to do it. and looks to be reeling Seppa in the number 4 car, but when he gets there, he'll need to make sure and make that move clean.
Absolutely, it's if Flick catches up to Seppa, he'll be able to catch him, but getting by is another thing, especially with some of the parts of this track being really narrow and not being able to make a move. But just watching Jamie Flick now, he's absolutely wringing the neck out of his car and just giving it everything.
Certainly is. Oh, this is my favourite camera, DFV cam. Thanks, Dougie Beard, for this one. This is a cracker. Right, riding on the engine cover of this masterpiece, commissioned by Ford Motor Company, built by Keith Duckworth and Mike Costin of Cosworth fame, and the most successful Grand Prix racing engine of all time. And it is just, it's a racing engine, Ryan, but it's also a musical instrument.
Absolutely, it's just, I love this camera angle as well. It's just watching the heat haze come off as well. It's just, I could watch this all day.
Kind of looks like an organ, doesn't it, with those 4 pipes? Yeah, well, that's our on number 4 on the other side as well. Of course, V8 engine, and what an engine it was. $100,000. That was all that that Ford had to pay to commission it.
Oh, I never knew about that. That's I'm just watching Jamie Flick now. He's definitely closing on the back of Severi Seppa, and he's closing basically corner by corner. And it seems to be this section of the track, Flick just seems to have maybe a little bit more confidence and just not afraid to push.
No, yeah, that doesn't. He's certainly not afraid. That's for certain. Some of the big moments we've seen, he's really pushing this car hard. And remember, after Jamie's win at Imola, commented on how surprised he was about how poor the brakes are on these cars and how they just don't want to stop. I mean, thankfully at the Nürburgring, it's mainly a flowing circuit. There aren't actually that many large, real braking zones, so it's more big, fast flowing corners. So yeah, you're definitely right there, Ryan. He's definitely closing in, but getting past Seppa is going to be tricky. He's going to have to work hard over the next couple of sectors to try and get a run on the Dottinger hole. But Seppa is going to be his hardest rival yet to make a move on.
Yep, absolutely, and I don't think Seppa will make it easy for him to get by any means. And as Jamie Flick just gets a little bit sideways on the exit of the carousel, and he's just, again, like I say, he's just wringing his neck and pushing it for everything it's worth.
Indeed, I mean, but I tell you what, we cannot stress enough how great a performance this has been from Mick Claridge so far. 21 seconds to the good, and okay, maybe Dorado could have made an impression, maybe Michael Dudignon might have made an impression, but unfortunately they crashed out a couple of laps ago, and Claridge is just, and you know what the great thing is, he's maintained that pace. He has not dropped any time at all to Seppa or Fluke, and he's done that all on his own.
Absolutely, and Mick Claridge is he's pretty much a maestro in this car, you could say. Just the amount of races, the amount of experience he's got, and he knows how to drive it. And Mick Claridge is probably one of the best drivers in this car. But Jamie Flick, he's probably one of the best drivers in iRacing in general, because he can just jump from car to car and be on the pace straight away.
Indeed, yep. World Championship licensed driver in the Porsche Tag Heuer Super Cup. And, a different car you could not find than this Lotus 49. This mid-engined Grand Prix legend. It's very, that word is thrown around a lot, but the Lotus 49 very much deserves that accolade. So, can Severi Seppa hang on to this runners-up spot as it stands? And it would only take a slight mistake from Claridge, and this would all of a sudden change for the battle to the win. But so far, Claridge is not, he has not blinked. And I'll tell you what, Seppa looks like he's got enough of a margin here to protect this lead, Ryan. Yeah,
absolutely. It looks like Jamie Flick just ran ever slightly wide on the entry onto the back straight, and but he's actually still keeping that gap to Seppa, and I think some of Severi's fans will be going crazy and trying to root him on, to make sure he keeps that second place.
Well, they'll be incredibly excited. Yeah, they'll be as excited as they can be. But as you see, Severi Seppa coming through the final section now over the start-finish line. We're going on to the final lap now, the last tour around the Nurburgring Nordschleife, what is actually essentially a public toll road. You can go and pay your money and go and have a lap around here. I have to say, I'd rather do it in somebody else's car, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way I would take if I had one, I would never take my own car. I would probably just take a rental car, because at least if you total that, you've got you don't have to worry as much as I guess you could say.
Absolutely, you could, but look at this. I tell you, someone who doesn't worry, Severi Seppa now has Jamie Fluke all over the back of his exhaust pipe now, and this is where Fluke made the move a couple of laps ago. They go side by side down towards the Flugplatz, and Jamie Fluke gets straight around the outside and gets it done. And, oh, Seppa's had a huge, and oh my word, Seppa gets it all kind of crossed up on the Flugplatz, and he's got suspension damage. Let's get a look here. So Fluke's got the run on him. He's going to appear in just to the left of shot now. They're going over the bumps. Fluke goes by. Seppa's going, oh, dash it. And then over the jump in a really awkward way. And round he goes. Oh, my word. That's a big one.
Absolutely. And I don't know if Seppa was trying to maybe just keep up the speed and trying to keep up with Jamie. Maybe just got distracted a little bit. But he just lost the car over that jump and just got airborne. And from then on, he just had no control, and there was only one way he was going, and that was into the wall.
Oh, let's pick up our leader, Mick Claridge, who is, well, still enjoying a circa 20-second advantage. He's coming just past the 8-kilometre marker right now, and down the hill he goes, and he's looking smooth as you like. A little bit of damage on the nose cone there. I think he picked that one up at the start, Ryan. I don't know with contact with who, but that damage has been there since the very beginning.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I noticed that as well. But one of these cars as well on iRacing, sometimes if you're on a bumpy track, and just because of the compression of this car as well, when you brake, because the nose dies and the car is so low, it might maybe some of the jumps, it might have just hit the ground too much, and it maybe just gave some slight front damage.
Yeah, good point. That could be where it came from. Well, it's just been an immaculate performance, hasn't it? And it's, the thing is, Ryan, I guess it's our job to try to explain to the viewer just how impressive a drive this is, because Mick is making this look like a drive to the shops. And to be honest, all of the best drives in motor racing often do look like that, because the driver is so within their ability and so smooth. But because their ability is so high, honed from thousands of hours of practice, they do make it look easy. But we have to stress, what Mick is doing right now is the opposite of easy.
Yeah, he's not had it all his own way. He was under pressure from Michel Dignon in the early stages, and only train rate, and Rafael Dorado, and yeah, those guys have pretty much fainted by the wayside as the races went on. Mick Claridge has kept his cool, he's kept his composure, and pretty much put on a champion's drive, you could say.
Indeed. And of course, some out of sim circumstances, unfortunately, causing Mick to have to miss a couple of rounds, and that gave Rafael Dorado a little bit of the edge, and he took the championship. But this has been a great return to road course racing for Mick Claridge. He's now coming into the final part. He's been through the carousel, and I always think, Ryan, once you've got the carousel out the way, I don't know what it is. It's just it must just be a mental note. You think, right, I'm kind of getting towards the end of the lap now. I'm starting to work my way down towards the final stages.
Yeah, and that's from my experience around this track as well. As soon as you get onto the last lap, it's one of those, you just keep telling yourself, don't do anything silly, don't push too much, just keep it on track, just hit your marks and just get to the end of the lap and you'll be fine. But it's something I had around here as well in a race a couple of weeks back. It was just basically you never get a break around this track. You're just having to concentrate all the time.
Yeah, you certainly are. It's got to be one of the most exhilarating experiences to put in a hot lap around here. It is such a special place, and brilliant that the track has been preserved. It's gone through a lot of financial complications and politics and what have you over the last few years, but The track is, for me, the Nürburgring 24-hour, the hardest race in the world to win. And quite honestly, one of the hardest races in the world to finish. The sheer variety of cars on circuit. If you're in one of the factory GT3 cars, you've got a lot of traffic to deal with constantly. And it is, and varying degrees of driving standards as well. So that is very, very tricky. But Mick Claridge has not had to worry about any of that. He has had very much a drive into the Eiffel sunset here around this wonderfully cambered corner. And he'll be about to come onto the Dottinger Hole for the last time, Ryan, and to close off what has been a superb drive.
Absolutely, he's just coming onto the back straight now, and he's pretty much, there's no one in front of him. There's no traffic, and he can pretty much just cruise up to the final corner, to the start finish line, and yeah, pretty much. Mick Claridge must be thinking it's his lucky day.
Absolutely, and the last time around, Jamie Fluke a 6-minute 27.9, edging out the fastest lap of the race, but it's not going to be enough to dethrone this man. Mick Claridge comes down to the final sector for the final time. 6 immaculate laps of the Nurburgring Nordschleife for Mick Claridge. He takes the checkered flag coming around the final section here. Mick Claridge then is going to be your winner here at the Nürburgring in the Grand Prix Legends Championship as he takes his time to go over the finish line, and he is your winner. And here comes Jamie Fluke. I tell you what, from the back of the grid, Brian, this has been a superb drive also.
Yeah, it's pretty much been a masterclass drive, and also I'm just watching Alessandro Parigi as well, coming just round to the final few corners to take the final step on the podium, and it's been a great drive from him. He was under a bit of pressure as well, excuse me, in the early stages and halfway through the race, but he's pretty much just kept his composure and took that final step on the podium, and well deserved as well.
Brilliant stuff, yeah, from Alessandro Parigi. 3rd place. And Bill Tyler, great drive to 4th as well. He was right there in the hunt too, but good finish, good chunk of championship points for him. We wait for Yuri Geisen in the pink and white machine here with the blue helmet. Up towards the final section he comes, and he will be closing out the top 5. So we're going to look at Mr. Kamikaze himself, Chris Murakami, in this red and white number 11 machine coming around. That's a good finish for Chris, Ryan.
Yeah, it's a great result for him. Considering he started in 12th and finished in the top 6, and a fantastic drive for him, and they kept his nose clean.
Indeed, absolutely. So we'll wait for just the last couple of drivers. Not many left on the lead lap to come over the line now as Antonio Reese comes over, and Jim McGill, the man from Ohio, in the number 30. So here we are, the final battle on the circuit. Giulio Forcolin holding off Colin Bentley here for 10th spot. Looks like he's just going to close it out now in the 19 car. Ooh, yes, just about. That's not a nervous end there for Giulio, but he does take that spot. So, we're going to take a very short break here on the Global Sim Racing channel, and we'll be right back with official results and hopefully some driver interviews. Welcome back to the Nürburgring, where we have just been treated to a masterclass from Mick Claridge, winning by nearly 20 seconds here in the Grand Prix Legends series. In fact, just where they cruised over the line just in the end, 10 seconds from Jamie Fluke, who drove all the way from the back of the grid into second place. A very good drive indeed from the man from Northern Ireland. Alessandro Parigi, the Italian, taking the last spot on the podium, with Bill Tyler not too far behind in fourth. Yuri Geisen finished out in the top 5 with Chris Murakami, Will McDonald, Antonio Rees, Jim McGill and Giulio Forcolin rounding out the top 10, Ryan.
Colin Bentley finishes in 11th after starting 24th, so a great drive from him. Finishing in 12th was Severi Seppa after the unfortunate incident in the closing stages. Timo Toika finishes in 13th with 14 points to Osmar Schultz. 15th is Togo Hashada, 16th is John Olsen, 17th is Eric Loico, Dorado 18th, 19th is Laus Olsen, and Michel de Dion rounds out the 20.
Rounding out the last of our runners then, 21st was Rob Olenek, followed by Jan Lehman, Jan Hoffman, Ovi Trengerade, Sebastian Tizier, Terry Worth and Robert Plumley, who all had earlier incidents suffering at the hands of the Green Hell. Well, we're going to have a chat to our podium finisher, Alessandro Parigi. Alessandro, that was an excellent drive. How did you find that one today at the Nürburgring? He's speechless. Alessandro, are you there? Do you have a copy? We'll come back to Alessandro Parigi. I believe Ryan Walker is with Chris Murakami.
Yeah, Mick finishing in first place, and they pretty much took a commanding win in the closing stages. But Mick, you didn't get it all your own way. You were under huge pressure in the early stages from Ove, Michel, and also Rafael Dorado, and then all of a sudden they just seemed to fall by the wayside.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Sorry. It was so annoying because we had such a build up to that race. You know, we was all supposed to be there at the end. You know, and we was even saying that we was sort of wish Jamie had qualified. You know, and got up there with us as well, because it would have been a draft battle down, you know, straight on the last lap, as you guys know. But pretty good start. I knew my start would be pretty good against Uwe's first gear. Bit of side-by-side down the hill there. That was a bit nasty. And then, I just tried to sort of not look in the mirror so much, you know, on the first lap. And then I think, was it the first lap when Uwe crashed? I can't remember now, but can't believe he did that. That's what I normally do. And then my second lap was really slow because my tyre pressures are in such a way that my car sort of seems to struggle on lap 2 here. And then it really speeds up again on lap 3 until the end of the race. So I was sort of expecting Michel to catch me, but I wasn't expecting the Maniac to go for a pass where he did.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching Michel when he went for a move. I can't remember what it was, that kind of long left downhill left-hander.
Yeah, pretty much the fastest part of the track. Bless him.
Yeah, as soon as he went for a move, he just lost it. And I guess when he kind of went for a move, you held your breath and hoped for the best. But it was unfortunate he had that incident, because I think it would have been a great battle between you two. But around the Nordschleife, it's all about keeping out of trouble, and you managed to do that.
Yeah, you know, just a word. I mean, I'm mucking about with Michel. He knows that. But you know what? He's had one race last season, Brands Hatch, and I think pretty much the whole year off before that. So he's had one weekend with us, and then came back yesterday and was in the 26s. So it's just, I mean, that's all you need to know about that guy. You know, it's just a joke.
Good stuff. And heading into the quarter next week, or is that a track you're familiar with for this car?
Yeah. So, it's quite a tricky track in this car. A lot of weird sort of corners and a lot of places where you expect to sort of be quick in any other car. With, you know, it's a real eggshell throttled sort of track in the Lotus 49. And then we've got Bathurst after that, which is even worse.
Good stuff. And before we let you go, Mick, quickly, anyone you want to give a shout out to or thank you to?
As always, this season and going forward, Nicola Kochi, man, because he just sent me a Rift over for nothing. He had a spare Rift so I could drive. I can never thank that guy enough for doing that.
Great to hear, and that's also another demonstration of the great camaraderie in the Lotus 49 community. Well, Mick, again, congratulations on the win, and we'll look forward to seeing you on track at Cota next week.
Cheers, guys. See ya.
I believe up next, Peter, you have got a sixth position finisher, Chris Murakami, with you.
I do indeed. Chris Kamikaze Murakami, welcome to the GSRC commentary box. How was your day at the Nürburgring today?
Wow, I survived. For me, it's about survival and getting through the first quarter without getting in some kind of accident. But yeah, it was good, really good.
Now, of course, this is the first time we've spoken on with a relatively new addition to the Grand Prix Legends broadcast. Now, please tell me, is the Kamikaze nickname, do you believe it's justified? And if so, where did it come from?
Well, I think it. I've had. I think it has to do with the color of my car and the paint. Antonio Reyes, I have to credit him for painting my car, and actually all my cars. And so the Japanese, I guess, war flag or rising sun. That I've always liked that. So I hope it doesn't offend anybody.
Certainly not. It's a cool paint scheme. In fact, there's actually a motorcycle racer called Johan Zarco who has the same design on his helmet, and I think his rivals get a little bit worried when he comes up behind them. So maybe it's a good intimidation tactic, perhaps.
Maybe. I tried to be safe. I tried not to hit anybody, but I have to apologize last week for that little incident there.
Well, next time we're off to the Lone Star State. We're off to Texas to the Circuit of Americas. You couldn't really get a more different circuit again to the Nürburgring. How are you feeling heading into that round?
Well, every track to me is a challenge. I got to put quite a few laps in. I raced it I think a couple seasons ago, and I did okay. It's anytime I could finish more than behind the top 5, right in that group, that's I have a good day. So we'll see if I can stay out of trouble. That's the main thing, and usually trouble happens to me in the first lap.
Well, we'll certainly be looking forward to watching how you get on, Chris. Chris, thanks so much for coming in to join us in the GSRC commentary box, and hopefully we'll have another chat next week.
Right on. Thank you.
So that is about all we have time for. Okay, my apologies. We do. I think we have Alessandro Parigi coming to join us.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We can. Yeah, welcome.
Sorry, guys, I had just the push to talk active and I forget to to push the button. Yeah.
Not a problem. Well done on the podium, Alessandro. How was your? How did you feel it went out there today?
I don't know. I still cannot believe. I'm really happy. This is the best, my best result ever in the Lotus 49. I have to be completely honest. This is not just lucky. Of course, it's lucky because a lot of faster driver wrecked. But I worked a lot the last 2 weeks to prepare this race. I made several hours of practice. So I'm happy for the result. I'm happy. I try to have a compromise between speed and low risk that in this track is probably impossible to avoid completely, you know. Yeah, happy for sure.
So now when you can't sleep at night, you can do laps of the Nordschleife in your head. And if you're still awake by the time you get around, you maybe need to stop drinking so much coffee.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I dream for the Nordschleife because this each turn here is a bet, you know. Especially in this car, probably this is one of the most difficult combo, I assume. I mean, I'm not the biggest expert, but it's really challenging, to be honest. It's really challenging. So
It definitely is. It definitely is. Well, before we, but as a podium finisher, you have the last word, Alessandro. Who would you like to give a shout out to here on the Global Sim Racing channel?
Sorry, I didn't get this.
As in, you have as a podium finisher, you have the last word. Who would you like to give a shout out to on the Global Sim Racing channel?
I mean, stay with us. Next week we have quota, and I hope that we can go on with this fantastic grid, because all the people are really, really fair. I really have a good challenge. Really good. Yeah, it's really good to be here. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Alessandro. Congratulations on your podium. Well done, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much, guys. See you. Ciao, ciao. Ciao.
So there we go. That was our podium finisher, Alessandro Parigi, giving a bit of insight of how important practice is for success here at the Nordschleife. That is about all we have time for today on the Global Sim Racing channel in this Grand Prix Legends series. A huge thank you must go to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for the broadcasts, and they're listed here on your screen. An additional thank you goes to June Lalonde, who provides all of our wonderful music. You can see on the screen of how to get hold of more of her great work. A huge thank you goes to Ryan, Sean and Dougie Beard for their assistance with today's broadcast. If you'd like to find out more about us here at the Global Sim Racing channel, including upcoming races, you can find out more on our website, globalsimracingchannel.com, and our social media. We have Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook, which is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Gram. You can even represent the Global Sim Racing channel at the track by getting hold of some GSRC merchandise, and you go to gsrc.storeenvy.com to check that out. Don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button as well, so that you never miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing channel. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.